What's up? It's been 3 months. I'm sorry. 2 months? Somewhat 2.5, maybe. Way too long. I didn't expect for there to be that much of a delay between these videos, but here we are. Anyway, that being said, this is the second video about BBTAG that I'm making. This will probably be a 3-part series where I talk about neutral, offense, and defense, but I do want to get these out as quickly as possible. My time with this game is pretty much done. I don't intend on playing it competitively anymore, but I do want to make sure there's videos out and resources available for people who want to play the game, people who stuck around after Grand Blue came out, or just people who find it later on and think it's interesting. So I'll try to get those out as quickly as possible, but I won't delay it any further than I already have. I'll be getting right into it. So, offense and BBTAG. There's a lot to talk about here, not too much though. Definitely not as much as neutral. Offense is the easy part of the game, I would say. Way easier than neutral for sure, and way easier than defense. The reason being, you can kind of formulate your offensive game plan and just run it for the most part. You don't have to worry about too many other outliers once you actually get an opportunity to run offense. But that being said, there is, some stuff to talk about. Offense is governed by some rules and just some generally agreed upon nuances. This is like how people run offense in this game. It's a lot different than neutral, where it's free form and you can kind of just do what you want at the end of the day. Offense is kind of just like, you need to be doing this if you want to be successful. So I want to start by talking about the different types of offense, or kind of explaining the difference between a stable and an unstable type of offense. So stable offense in this game, for rule of thumb, utilizes both of your characters. So on screen you have your point and you have your assist, right? So if you're running offense, you want to make sure both characters are involved in some type of way. Conversely, if you're only using one character, then your offense is a lot weaker. You have half the options, you have half the coverage. It's a lot easier to disrespect, and you don't want that. You want to maximize your opportunities in this game. So, a bulk of the offense, or the mix-up in this game, comes from active switch. So for those of you who don't know, active switching is this here. You switch into your assist. Very plain, very simple. I assume that everybody knows that already, but I just want to make sure I don't leave anyone behind. So you hit the once your assist is on screen, and you can switch into your assist. So that's important because on the first frame you switch, you are considered in control of the other character, meaning if you get behind them, like I did just here, and you swap, right there you have to block the opposite direction. You have to block in the direction of the character you just switched into. So if you find yourself in that situation, it's very hard to block. That is a guess. You can't react to it. There's no reacting to that whatsoever. It is very hard to deal with. So as a rule of thumb, you want to be going for a mix-up like that. That's the type of mix-up you want to be going for. A weaker type of offense that people run, or you can fall into the trap of running, is doing things like this, right? Jump cancel. Oh. Stagger. Imagine that was a 2A. Oh my god. Stagger, jump cancel, normal, jump C. There's a lot of problems with that. There's a lot of problems with that. First off, jump C is very easy to block. System offense, as a whole, for the most part, is very easy to block in this game on reaction. And more often than not, it is punishable too. So the risk reward on you actually hitting them is not so good. I'll get into that later, the risk versus reward, but for the most part, you don't want to be doing offense like this as your go-to. You don't want that mix-up to be your go-to, because when somebody blocks it, right, and they punish you and hit you with 14k, you're gonna be tight. Online, you can just crack people with that though. Offline is very easy to block, right? So you want to make sure you're doing like offense that work offline, right? If in the spur of the moment, if you're doing this in 3 frames of delay, you're gonna feel like the best Narcomi in the world, definitely. But it is worth noting that that mix-up is not so strong. So now that we know all of that, I kind of want to talk about layered offense. So you've probably heard that term before if you've kept up with this game at all, or even Dragon Ball. Layered offense is essentially if X is blocked, or if X is defended against in a certain type of way, then Y happens. It is the flow chart for how your offense is actually playing out. So in this game, one of the main defensive options you will see is Pushblock. We're all aware of it, love it or hate it, it is this. Pushblock. You spin a bar, reject, your character is pushed the distance of the screen away, and you kind of, for most intents and purposes, return to neutral. So this is a very strong option, definitely. You should be seeing a lot of this in a standard BBTAG match. But layered offense deals with this by making sure, even if I'm push blocked, I still keep my turn. I still keep offense. So if I'm using one character to do my offense, say I'm just doing stagger with Seth, right, and Narukami push blocks me, then it's neutral. We're back in neutral. But say my other character is out. Can I time this right? I can't time this right. Okay. Let me just do this instead. Right. So right here, Carmine is doing stagger to me. I push block and we're back in neutral. And that's it, pretty much. But if I do this, I push block, but I still am in block stun. I'm still in the corner. Layered offense looks like that in this game. Layered offense means you are covering the option of push block, the option of reversal, whatever option you're covering. Pretty much, you know what is going on once you do a string. Like if this happens, then this happens. So you want to have that game plan down pat, but for most intents and purposes, it is doing things like this. So neutral calling your assist is very important in this game, as well as another rule of thumb. You want to make sure you're not doing this. This is technically the same effect as what I did previously, but I spent a bar of my assist gauge to do it. And like I explained in my neutral video, that bar is extremely important to keeping you alive. You don't want to be spending your burst if you don't have to. So if you do this, but you spend the gauge, you get the same effect, right? Push block, but you know, I still have to block because Narukami's there, but you can do it for free as well by calling your assist first and then doing your normal. Generally, your offense needs to be looking like that if you want to stay alive in this game. But yeah, you want to cover assist or push block by using your assist. So in this scenario here, oh wait, in this scenario here, I'm spending a lot of gauge to get away as opposed to spending one gauge to get away because the offense is layered. Another important use for neutral called assist is using them for Oki. So for those of you who don't know, Oki is short for Okazeme. Again, I'm assuming people know that already, but it is the act of setting up offense on your opponent's recovery. So you knock them down, you do something like this. You neutral call your assist, and your assist attacks for you while you block. You hold down back, and if your opponent decides to reversal, you can counter hit them, do a bunch of damage that they can't do anything about, and potentially kill them and win the game off of that. If they block, they have to hold offense. It is still your turn. Also, if this is done correctly, you do have to lab your characters. You have to lab, because not every assist is fast enough to actually do this, and not every assist has enough block stun for it to be worth going for. But it is very nice to have, and you need to look into whether or not your team can actually do something like this. So you knock them down, right, and people will tech forward or backwards to try to like escape. You can actually cover that option by calling your assist and having them do immediate for you. I don't know if this scenario is gonna work, but maybe something like this. Oh, how do I not people down with this character? Alright, I don't know how to do this. Alright, one last try. Otherwise you have to take my word for it. I think that's it. Yeah, so like that. And as you can see there, if they decide to tech forward, they get sandwiched if you do Oki like that as well. So that is an even bigger opportunity for you. So definitely get in the habit of doing that. It keeps your games a lot more consistent and keeps your games a lot more controlled. Because you do want to exert some type of control over the chaos in this game, if at all possible. Next, I want to go over the resource management side of things. Resource management in this game is extremely important and also very easily overlooked. Or actually the most overlooked aspect of the game. Because like I said before, look at the screen, right? That is very important to keep a handle on all of the gauges that you're being shown. Because they should be directly influencing your decision making in this game. So mainly when it comes to offense, that the resource management pertains to push blocking. So like I mentioned before, push blocking costs a bar. It's a strong option, but it does cost a bar, which is why you want to keep, you know, as much meter as possible to defend yourself. But like I said, layered offense is pretty good at dealing with push block, right? It's a matter of how far are you willing to go to actually get out of offense. But I'll start by talking about how do you deal with push block without doing that. What are the ways of dealing with push block? I know that push block is a lot of people's boon in this game. A lot of people probably quit this game because they hate dealing with push block. Push block is a strong option, but there are some low committal ways of dealing with it. The easiest and most effective way, most common way, is to occupy the space that you're getting pushed out of with active frames. So say you do something like this, right? This is the perfect example. You're getting pushed out of that space, but you're still occupying it. But it's a guess. It is a guess, but it is a guess that you don't risk too much for actually going for it. And a lot of characters have options like this. You use something that has forward movement momentum, or moves really far out, or covers space directly in front of them to keep your opponent from push blocking and running in, right? Push blocking it and doing this to you. That's one of the most common ways of dealing with it. Like, say you have to use contextual clues about what's going on in the match. What type of characters are you fighting, and how's the player been playing the entire time? Are they willing to sit here and try to block, right? Because they're not afraid of this, or are they gonna push block as soon as they have to block something? Pretty much, you can win neutral and kind of assume, okay, they're probably gonna push block, so I'm gonna do something like this. I'm gonna like rush forward, call my assist to keep up pressure if the move I did to cover that space is unsafe, like this is unsafe. So I do this and then call my assist, and I get to keep pressure. You have to lab with your characters. Again, I'll probably be saying that a lot because this game does have a lot of options, and unfortunately I can't explain all of them. But that is one of the most fun parts of this game, I would say. Making a team and making that team your own, and kind of, seeing what you can and can't do. But you do have to lab. Certain characters have better options than others. Like this is extremely good, because even if they don't, I'm right in front of you and I'm plus. Carmine has something similar, right? Like, I get pushed out. Oh, whoops. But I still have to block the 5B. But I lost nothing from making that guess, because it's still my turn, even if he doesn't do it. Right? And I can't just rush for it because, the hitbox is in the way. There's a lot of options in this game to actually deal with push block if you think about it in that frame of mind. So I do encourage you to check and see what you can and can't do. Unfortunately, if you don't have strong, get me back in tools like this, the next best thing you can do is use low committal normals in your string. So this right here, or let me do this. This right here. What's the best thing Carmine has? You know what, this is a safe string to push block, right? I lied, never mind. Worst example. Actually, the worst example. Let me do this. Staggers are generally safe to push block, right? See, like right there, it is so low recovery that I can't get punished by anything if I do that. A lot of people in this game's early lifespan like to do push block super too. There's some faster supers in the game like Black Hawk Stinger that would just smack people. Which is why you don't want to commit to long recovery normals in your string. You don't want to be doing this all the time, right? Because this is actually punishable on push block, right? That is a punish. And so you want to be cognizant of that and try to run strings that are a lot safer to push block bust out option, pretty much, because there's a lot of characters that have something like that. You just push block and then punish them with a forward advancing move like that. A lot of people will be trying to take advantage of the space that they get from push block because you are technically returning a neutral, or a lot of times you're even returning your plus because they did something like this, so they want to take their turn back like that. So be aware of that. There are a lot of characters, generally as a rule of thumb, you don't want to be doing the full auto combo string, because a lot of the time it can be punished by push block, right? Well, you can't push block personas anymore, so that's probably a bad idea. Something like hide 5B, 5BB, stuff like that. You don't want to go through the entire auto combo string because, you can be push block punished. So that's very important. So the next best thing is to keep yourself safe rather than occupying that space, right? So say I don't have my assist available, I'm not doing layered offense because, I'm by myself with Seth, right? You can do something like this, right? You push block, you guess that they're going to push block, and then you just jump away and throw an orb or something. Like, there is a difference between going back to neutral and getting hit by like push block run up button or something like that, right? So don't be greedy. If you can't actually offensively deal with their push block by getting back in there, the next best thing is to keep yourself safe. So that is very important to keep in mind. Push block can also be thrown. It puts you into TRM state. If you're familiar with BlazBlue, that just means throw, reject, miss. So in BB, throw, reject, miss is essentially if you try to tech a throw that did not come, or you try to tech a throw too early, you'll be placed into TRM state, a throw, reject, miss state, which means you can't tech the throw for X amount of frames. I forget the value on the top of my head, but it exists in this game to a capacity. There's no purple throw. Purple throw and BlazBlue and TRM pretty much means you can't mash throw and block stun to tech. But in this game, the same type of rules apply. Like right there, I tried to tech throw and block stun, and it was way too early. So Narukami threw me, and it was untechable. So push blocking puts you into that same state. And as you can see, throw makes you run forward in this game. You press throw, and you automatically move forward. So that mechanic, it was intentional. I'm assuming that they wanted you to be able to reliably throw push block. With, you know, A normal. A normals can be canceled with the throw. They want you to reliably be able to punish with this. It's not a reliable punish, but it does work sometimes, and you don't lose a lot for going for this because this is a frame trap with a lot of characters, with most characters, depending on our range. Alright, you do something like this. I can't mash out of that. I was mashing 2A for my life, but I get hit. So, you're not actually doing that to throw them. You don't want to hit them with the throw. If it hits them with throw, if you hit them with throw, great, you get a combo, I guess. But mainly it is a safe way of ending your pressure if it's been going on for too long, or you think they're gonna push block you. Unit characters are pretty privileged because they can do A normals whenever they want, right? Something like that, and then go into it. Pretty much whenever you feel like they're gonna push block, you can do that and, you know, lose nothing pretty much because throw doesn't have that much recovery on whiff, so you can do something like that. That was an actual punish. It didn't counter hit him. And it also frame trap, so that is something that you want to keep in mind. Like right there, I was still in TRM state. You can jump out of it, but like I said, oh, just kidding. It depends on the timing anyway. It is something that you want to try to incorporate into your game plan because a lot of the times it actually works out. And it usually is a safe option. They have to be committing to a back to punish you for this, in which case you can hit them low, or maybe if you're a god you can react and do something like that. But still, it is kind of something that you want to play around with. And lastly, I want to talk about pressure versus mix-up in this game. So as a rule of thumb, when you're running offense in this game, if you've ever played BlazBlue or you know, just any other anime game, there's a precedent that you kind of want to set in that game where you're sure their opponent is respecting you before you go for your offense. Go for your mix-up. Do something like this, stagger, right? And then you run in and do a throw or something like that. Like, oh cool, they're respecting me, I'm gonna throw you. This game is the complete opposite. You want to just do the mix-up. You have to just do the mix-up. The reason being push block. Like I've mentioned so many times, no one is going to block for that long in this game, especially if they're using one character only. They're going to reject as soon as they have to block something. So if you wait too long to go for your mix-up, you're not going to get to do your mix-up, and that's pretty important because you do have to adjust for the space that you're getting pushed out of before you have to run back in. You have to run back in to do more offense, you like set up your mix-up. But that being said, when you are running offense like this, your goal is to make them spend as much, you know, meter or resources as possible without losing your turn to get them off of you. So in this scenario, you push blocking right here is fantastic for Carmine. He does not care. He is back in there, right? Right, I guess I can do it again, right? I can do it 2 more times, maybe. 3 bars, right, but I'm out. He can actually extend that with cross combo. Cross combo is very good in those scenarios. It is another resource that you can use to keep the offense going. Like, yo, you're not going anywhere. Like, you're about to stay in this block stun, right? You do this cross combo, and then you keep it going like that, because while your cross combo gauge is going down like it was, you can call your assist as many times as you want, right? You can call them as many times as you want within reasoning of, you know, how fast the assist recovers and how much gauge you have left. But you will keep going forward. Oh, this is hard to like replicate because it's usually done in reaction to them push blocking. Alright, something like that. Like, I'm spending a bunch of meter and I'm still in the corner, yo. Like, I can't leave. So that is, you know, something, the type of structure that you want to be going for when you're trying to cover your push block. But you are usually trying to get them to spend all of their meter. So I did mention that this is the type of offense you want, mix-up you want to go for. Active switch mix-ups like this, right? Usually sandwich, but sometimes you can't get them out of the corner, right? Not every team has a way to get them out of the corner like that or something like that. So to set up sandwich mix-up. But not everyone has to do that. So if you're same side, cross combo still has a place. Regular mix-ups still have a place. Like if you neutral call and assist on somebody, that is very big. You are in a position to do a bunch of mix-ups, you know, with how much cross combo you have. If you have a full gauge, you can set it up. Again, you have to lab. There are some characters that can set up fuzzies by themselves, right? You can do something like that. Not something like that. Something like that, you can set up a fuzzy. Blake can do something like that, Hyde can do something like that. So that's like the same side mix-up that you have to be worried about. Because it's stronger than just doing jump C or doing 5C or even doing throw. Like, people aren't gonna block that so easily. You do have to get creative, pretty much. Your goal, if at all possible, is to neutral call your assist during your pressure. Like, uni characters can maybe do something like this. Oh my god. Something like that. It is a risk though. If the opponent decides to mash, that is a happy birthday. It does a lot of damage. So it's not a risk that you want to be taking if you don't have to. But essentially getting your assist out on someone in block stun should be a mix-up in some way, shape, or form. So develop a mix-up like that. That is a good way to get started on like actually opening up your opponents. That being said though, as far as like same side mix-ups go, some characters have instant overheads, right? That's obviously strong, right? So when I said you just have to do your mix-up, you have to just do your mix-up, that doesn't mean just run up and do 5C, right? That does not mean just do block string into overhead, right? Because I did mention that you want to maximize your opportunities in this game. You don't want to waste your cross combo. You don't want to waste your mix-up opportunity on a weak mix-up, right? You get in on them, right? This is technically layered offense, right? Like, they block my jump C, oh, but I can cross combo and keep it going. But that's still not strong because this is very easy to block, right? So what are you spending your cross gauge on? Mix-up that they're gonna block? The worst case scenario is if they block all of your mix-up, you activate cross combo and then they hit you. Because you stand and eat a lot of damage that you can't burst, because I mentioned in the neutral video, your burst is extremely important to keeping you alive. So you don't want to be spending your gauge, you know, arbitrarily. So definitely do something like this. That's like extremely stable. People do this all the time. This is an easy way to set up offense. Jump cancel normal, call your assist, and then air dash, jump over them, do whatever you gotta do. Now you're in a sandwich. If you're mid-screen and you get this opportunity, that's where you have to lab a little bit. Like I said, some characters have fuzzies, some characters have instant overheads, some characters have command grabs. You know, that's good, same side type of offense, but definitely do your due diligence in training mode. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is locking out bursts. So something that's equally important to everything else that I covered in this video, you want to lock out your opponent's interaction. Their chances to interact with you, you want them to be as low as possible once you actually get your offense going. So that means doing things like supers or doing, everyone knows you can bait bursts in this game, right? I just assume that people know this, but you can react to burst startup if you're using one character. One kid's on screen, react, detect, get a combo, right, on reaction. So it is very important to learn all of your solo routes so you can keep that option available and your opponent can't burst. Bursting is no longer an option. They can burst, the character will come in, but they still eat damage and you still get an okay situation on them. So that's very important, but essentially you want to do everything in your power to keep them from bursting on you for free. So even if you use your assist to win neutral like this and you're getting a confirm, alright. Right, your assist is technically out, so they have a free point to burst. You want to be looking at their burst when you're hitting people in this game. Like, the combos are very easy. You don't have to be looking at your character. Don't look at your character, look at the burst. You want to know if that burst is filling up and if they're likely to burst. So say you hit them with an assist and one neutral. Say you're doing a cross combo route and it's going down. You see their gauge going back up. You super early. That dropped, but you super early. Because during supers you cannot burst. As you can see, there's an X over Narukame's burst gauge. So right there, that's where you set up your kill situation. A lot of times, the routes that you're doing are probably going to do a bunch of damage, right? So you super early, they can't burst out of this. Then you Oki with your assist, or you know, some type of Oki. You have to lab. Like I said, I will be saying that a lot probably. You do have to lab, see what your characters can and can't do, so what your team can do. But that's where you set up your kill situation. Like 9, like I do a bunch of damage, like I super early to keep him from bursting, right? Because I don't have the option to actually stop him, and then I do instant overhead and kill him, or something like that. That is where you set up your like, I'm about to win situation. So locking out bursts is very important for sure. You want to be looking at their bursts when you're hitting them. That is pretty much it. I don't really have anything else that I want to talk about in this video. As far as solo offense goes, like say you lose a character, like what do I do then? What does my offense become? That can pretty much, I can probably make a separate video on that, like how to manage the 2v1 situation or the 1v1 situation or something like that. But for the most part, it's a reiteration of the first points. Like your options are kind of limited. Like if you're playing in that situation anyway, it's not really much you can do. If you have a command throw, you're scary, right? Because you can't react to command throw. It becomes a guess between, am I going to do a low or am I going to command throw you? If you have an instant overhead, you can do that. But pretty much if you're a commoner and you don't have anything like that, you have to rely on strike throw. It is a very sad reality, but that's pretty much all that you can do. Anyway, if people want to hear more about that in another video, you can let me know. I can probably put that together. But again, I'm sorry this took so long to actually put out. I didn't mean for it to be that long. But yeah, offense is simple in you know, contrast to, you know, neutral and defense. So this video is probably going to be the shortest out of those 3. But yeah, I'll hopefully be back in a week with the defense video. I don't want to take too long. No promises though. I'm sorry. Peace.